Hi guys, Andrea Mills here. It's Tuesday morning and it's actually a really gloomy day here today. It's not raining at the moment, but it's like really gray and dreary outside, which I actually kind of like this kind of a day, but it's just so quiet. Outside it's so quiet. Inside I'm not sure why everyone's so calm and quiet this morning, but I thought I would just spend a little bit of time just visiting with you guys today about like what's going on with our family and just some random things, you know, one of our little chat videos. It's been, what is today? I don't know the actual date of today, but we're like halfway through August, and I had high hopes at the beginning that I was going to be getting a lot of videos done, and that hasn't happened. So I just thought, I didn't think I was going to be able to get another video up today. So I thought I'd just taking a few minutes just to visit with you at least, but get something up there, and you know, I could connect with everyone. So on my last video that I did, my last vlog, which was our week 4 summer break video, I had such a horrible time, and I already left a comment on the video, so I'm sure many of you already know what happened, but I'm going to go ahead and share the story with you anyways. So whenever you edit a video, like you import all your little video clips into the video editing software, and basically what you're doing is giving the software directions for what to do to all these video clips. So everything that you cut and move around and adding music and words and all that, it's not actually doing that yet, you're just setting up the directions. And so that process takes me, like for this video that I'm doing, it will take like no time at all, hardly. So if this video ends up being like 20 minutes long, it will take me 30 to 45 minutes to edit the video, because I have to watch the whole thing and do things as I go. So the whole time isn't very long, but for my longer vlogs, it can take up to 6 hours to do that, sometimes even more, to edit the whole thing. So after I edit the video, then you actually render it, which is actually producing the video. So you've given the directions to the software, then the software actually does the work and creates a video file. And that's not something I have to sit there for, but it takes, for a long video, a couple of hours, usually 2 to 3 hours. It just depends. And obviously some people might have faster computers or something, but that's how long it takes for mine. So so let's say I've spent 6 hours editing the video, and then another 2 hours for it to render. So that's 8 hours of time into it. And then I have to upload the video. And when I was in California last year at Papa Doug's house, I could upload a 30-minute video in like 3 minutes. His internet was amazing. But at my house, it takes, like for my long ones, it can take up to 7 hours sometimes. So anywhere from maybe 3 to 7 hours. It just depends on the day. I don't know why some days it takes a lot longer than others. So again, that's not something I have to sit there for, but it just takes a long time to do it. And it also slows down the internet for everyone else in the house. So I like to try to do it over at nighttime if I can, so that I'm not like causing everyone to have slow internet while it's happening. So the whole process though takes a long time to do. And with the video I did the other day, when I did the scene where I was coming home from my dad's house, and as I was driving home that day, I just kept seeing these pretty things, and I thought, oh, you know what would be neat is just to do like a Home on the Range song and put little clips of these scenic things that I'm looking at. So I was actually really excited to edit that little part of the video because I thought that was going to be really fun. So yeah. Anyways, so when I actually sat down to edit that day, I started looking for the song. And the song is not, the words, the song itself isn't copyrighted, but I still had to find one that I could use, because even if the song's not copyrighted, that means I could sing it and play it with no problem. But if I'm going to use someone else's recording of it, I still have to make sure that they haven't copyrighted their recording of it. So I looked for a long time, you know, well over an hour, and I finally found a good version that had little symbols, said it was not copyrighted and everything. So I downloaded the song and I put it in, I edited everything, and I felt really happy about how it turned out. And I got the video uploaded, and then when it was all the way done uploading the next morning, I come in, which by the way, I actually got up in the middle of the night to start the upload because it was not done rendering by the time I went to bed that night. So in the night, I woke up and I went out and I started the upload, and I get up in the morning and it says it has copyrighted music in it, and I'm like, what? I thought that wasn't copyrighted. So I check the thing and I'm like, oh yeah, apparently it was not copyrighted, but it did have one little symbol that when I clicked that thing, little all the legal disclaimer stuff said you couldn't use it in video. And I'm like, oh great. So that meant I had to find a new song to put in there and change the whole thing, which I could have left it as it was, but then they would play ads on my video. Some people don't let you use the song at all, but anyways, this one said that I could use it, but they would play ads and then they would take the money for the ads, and I don't play ads on my video, so I certainly don't want someone else playing ads on my video. And so I started looking again, spent over an hour again looking for another version of the song, and it turned out that Gene Autry's version is not copyrighted. So I found on archive.org where I could download that song, and it said very explicitly that there was no copyright whatsoever attached to any of his music, and blah blah blah. So I downloaded it, I put it into my video, and I had to re-edit that whole section because I'd cut scenes to go with the music and everything, and then once I mess with that section, then everything behind it in the video has to be adjusted because now words are no longer in the right place and music later isn't in the right place. So I had to go through the whole end of the video and move everything around, then re-render, which takes another couple of hours, and for some reason it kept getting stuck. So it would get almost all the way done rendering, and then it wouldn't finish. So then I had to start the whole several hour process over again, and I finally get it rendered, I get it uploaded, and it says that I have copyrighted music in my video, and I'm like, ah. So I was trying to figure out why that would be, because it was very explicit that it wasn't copyrighted, and I finally thought, you know what, I don't even want to hassle with it. I will just find a different version of the song. So at that point I asked Tom, could you help me find something? And he said sure, because he'd already been teasing me that if I would just let him help, that we could get this done a lot faster. So he starts looking and he finds an audio only version that was nice, and we had to pay for the song, which there's lots of places you could buy the song for like $50 or $60, but I didn't want to do that. But this one was only $1.50. We could buy this for $1.50. We could buy the instrumental music at least, and it said explicitly that we would be licensed to use it in videos and blah blah blah. So we get the song, I put it in my video. Again, I have to re-edit things to make it fit because it was a little shorter, and then I had to put the words on the screen because it didn't have any words to it and all that. Then I had to go re-edit the stuff at the end that now needs adjusted because of the changes I made here, re-render it and re-upload it. And the next morning I get up and I look, and lo and behold, it says I have copyrighted music, and I'm like, I cannot believe this. This is so infuriating. So I go back to the website where we got the song, and I found a little contact form, and I'm like, why does this say that I have copyrighted music? When I bought the song, it explicitly says I was licensed to use it in a video, but it says that they were gonna take 2 days to get back to me, and we were gonna go camping. And I had hoped by this time that I would have not only had that video done, but over this couple of days I'd planned to get 1 or 2 or maybe even 3 more videos done. So I was just like, you know what, I don't want to waste time waiting for them to get back to me. And so I just got rid of the song altogether, found some free music from the YouTube Creator Studio and put that on there. And again, changed everything behind it, re-rendered everything, and then re-uploaded it. But it wasn't done uploading by the time we left for our camping trip, so it still had like 20% to go. So then the 3 days that we were camping, it just sat there waiting for me to come home and push the button. So I did that, and you guys finally got a new video. And then the next day I got a message from the place where we had bought the song saying that they knew that we would get a copyright thing, because YouTube, it is copyrighted basically, but they're okay with us using their copyrighted music. They'll just take the ad money from it. And so like in their mind, it's great. They didn't care that I was going to get a copyright thing. They're like, don't worry, you don't get a copyright strike on your account because we allow you to use our copyrighted music, and then we take the ad money. And I'm like, nowhere did they say any of this in the website about that this is the situation. So I just nicely said it would have been nice, because I don't play ads on my videos, and it would have been nice if you had laid this whole thing out before I bought the song, rather than just letting it be a surprise and then I have to go through all this work again after the fact. So the video finally got up, but I have not made any progress on any more videos, and I haven't made any progress on getting ready for school coming up in September, which is why I've made no homeschool videos or organizing videos, because I haven't done any yet. So now here we are, Tuesday morning, and Thursday we are leaving for Denver. So I will be lucky if I get even one more vlog edited before then. And that's why I thought, you know what, I'm just going to sit down and we're just going to visit for a few minutes this morning. So at least I have some connection with you guys, because it feels like a long time between videos when I mean, you know, like in the past, it was not unusual for me to have between 20 and 25 videos a month up. So that's almost every day. And now I'm like, lucky to get 10 up in a month. It's just like, not, the summer has just been so busy. I'm always glad when we get back to school and get back into a routine and life is a little bit more calm, it seems like. Although in the other ways it's more work, so I don't know, but it just goes better for me in the school year. So coming up, we're going to Denver. There's a big Magic Grand Prix tournament down there, and Tom's been wanting to go for a while. We actually had thought about going last winter, but it just didn't work out, so we decided then that we would go to this one in August. So we're gonna go for that, and then the eclipse is happening, and one of the places that is going to be in the zone of totality is in Casper, Wyoming. So we're gonna come home from Denver and come up through Casper, so it's just a little bit of a detour for us, and go enjoy the eclipse in Casper and then come back home again. So that's all coming up. And then after that, Tom's stepdad Doug is coming for a visit. I'm not exactly sure what day he's coming, but yeah, it's just a busy time. And then I wrote a few things down here. There's a lot more that I wanted to talk about, but I'll get to that one in a minute. I will go back to the camping trip. We just went camping out at Tom's mom's house. She has a little over 20 acres out in the forest, and the kids really, that was like high on some of their lists of things that they wanted to do this summer, was go camping. And we're not, like, Tom has went camping with some of the boys and some other men in a very rustic fashion, you know, up in the mountains, far from civilization. But as a family, we've only went to like KOA campgrounds, where we got a cabin and we put up a few tents and we, you know, had the little picnic table and fire pit and all that. So I wasn't quite ready. Tom wanted to go to the mountains. I'm like, I'm not quite ready to do that yet. Like, I don't feel experienced enough to know what I need to pack and just how to plan for that sort of a trip, especially with all the kids. So we decided to go out to Tom's mom's house, which she wasn't actually home, but she was, you know, fine with us doing this. So we just went back into the forest, far enough away from the house that you couldn't see the house. So it felt very much like we were in the woods. But we set up our campsite there, and we did all of our cooking over the fire, and we took the kids down to the lake, which was just a couple miles away, and we went swimming and fishing and all that. So it was a very nice time, and you will of course get to see it in whichever, I think it's the week 7 vlog that will be in. So that was a very fun, good experience, and we're gaining a little confidence with camping. But I wanted to tell you about Sophia, which when the second night, during the night, she was sleeping next to me in the tent, and I looked at her and I thought, she looks funny. I wasn't sure if it was just my imagination, but she just looked like something was going on there. Anyways, so the next morning when she got up and starts getting around, that's when I'm like, yep, she does look funny. And her face was so swollen. Tom looked it up, and it's apparently called skeeter syndrome. Like, she had so many mosquito bites on her forehead that her eye Actually, it was, I think, this eye. Swollen under here, swollen on her forehead, and then like up in here, and then between her nose. It looked like her eyes were really far apart, so it was so swollen in between them. And this eye was a little bit squinty because it was so swollen, and it didn't really seem to bother her, but she looked weird. So Claudia's head was all lumpy from mosquito bites too, and Solomon even a little bit. It's so hard. We have bug spray, you know, but it's so hard getting the little kids to cooperate with you spraying in the face area, you know. Like the big kids, they just put their hands up and cover their faces and we spray them down and they're good, but the little kids are like panicky and everything, so it's always harder. So all three of them had foreheads covered with mosquito bites. But when we got home later that day, I just made some tea out of some plantain and some mallow leaves, and several times throughout the evening she'd lay her head in my lap and we just put a cloth with the tea on it, and by the end of the night the swelling on the forehead was gone and under her eye was gone. So it's just between, you know, across the bridge of her nose there that was still swollen. And then the next morning she was back to normal, like nothing ever happened other than the little marks where all the mosquito bites are. But that was a little bit, I don't know, it wasn't like scary or anything, it was just funny actually. She just, I don't know if any of you ever saw that TV show called The Beauty and the Beast, like weekly show that they had, I don't know, back in the early 90s maybe. But the Beast, that's what she reminded me of, because he had like a flat, broad area, you know, to look like an animal basically, and that's what her face kind of reminded me of, because it was like puffy and flat and wide between the eyes and just looked weird. I feel like there's one more thing I wanted to tell you before I got to the end here. Oh, we still haven't decided when we're gonna do our what is that, dinner with the Mills, like the live stream dinner thing. But I think what we're gonna do, we decided, was find out when I uploaded my first YouTube video, because I'm coming up here soonish on my 2nd anniversary of starting my YouTube channel. And so I thought, you know, we'd go on our anniversary date on the 24th of every month, because that's when we got married. So I thought maybe we make it easy on ourselves, make a routine, if this works out, of doing a live dinner date with you guys on my YouTube anniversary. So I need to find out when that is, and then we can plan our little live stream dinner thing with everyone. So the last thing I was going to mention is, well, I'll start here, is that we aren't sure if we actually get to go on our trip to Denver now. We're going to see what happens, but Tom's grandpa Frank, they had to take him to the hospital yesterday morning by ambulance, and he's in ICU. And we actually had our air conditioning in our van went out last week, so Tom had taken the van over yesterday morning to see if we could get it repaired. And then I went and picked him up in his car, since they had to keep it for a while and he had jobs to do. So he went and did his jobs, and then they called later in the afternoon and said that the van was ready. So him and I just went over to pick up the van, and then we also went down to the hospital to see Grandpa Frank. And he was sedated because they had to put a ventilator into him. He was septic basically. He just had a really bad infection, and he had been fine apparently the night before. You know, that's how things happen. He just like hits out of nowhere. So he didn't, you know, seemingly fine the night before, and then the next morning when they went to wake him up, he just was not responsive and obviously not doing well. So they called 911, and that's when they sent the ambulance. They took him to the hospital, and I think they discovered the situation that caused it was that his catheter tube had got pushed too far in and was like blocking the kidney a little bit and causing this infection. And so his blood pressure was so low that they had him on 2 very high doses of blood pressure medicine, and were still struggling to keep his blood pressure up. And then he had to be on the ventilator and everything. So I've heard this morning that he's doing a little bit better. So we're not sure what's going to happen. But obviously if he passes away, then we would not want to be away and miss his funeral and all that. But it seems like maybe he might recover. So I don't know what we're going to do. But this whole thing just comes back to, I guess, my my encouragement that I want to share with you for today, which is what a blessing aging is. And this was a conversation my friend and I were having on our camping trip. Our friends came out to have church with us on Sunday morning, and my friend and I were taking a walk around in the woods, and we were just discussing how we tend to see getting older or the aging process as a negative thing. And then when I came home and I had somebody ask me if I ever thought about dyeing my hair, and I just thought, oh, that goes right along with what we were just talking about. But if we take a step back and think about the purpose of why we're here, why we're on earth, and what we're doing, the whole purpose of our earthly existence is, it's the means, our physical lives is the means through which God refines us as a spiritual being of who we actually are. This is how He makes us into the kind of people He wants us to be. And when we focus on physical perfection, whatever that means, because that it's not even an objective, there's not an objective measurement, and yet we all kind of think that being a certain weight, or I don't know, any certain looks are the epitome of perfection. But that's not true from generation to generation, from time period to time period. It's not objective. There's no objective standard. It's always changing, and yet we still kind of want to conform to whatever the current definition of physical perfection is, as if that's of value, I guess. And the whole thing is that the actual value is who you are as a person. Whether or not you're learning to be more loving and more generous and more faithful, more of a servant for others or to others. And if we didn't age, it would be a huge hindrance to making that happen in our lives. So I was thinking about, since my kids were little, one of the things that I found is extremely important is when we're going to transition, especially when it's something we really enjoy that we're going to stop doing, how important it is for me to give them warnings that this is about to happen. So we're playing at the park and I don't want anyone throwing a fit, and I want everyone to cooperate when it's time to go. So I will start saying 10 or 15 minutes before it's time to go, we have 15 minutes, we have 10 minutes, we have 8 minutes, 7 minutes, and I'm giving these warnings. I'm not stopping them, but they're getting warnings that we're getting close to the time that we're gonna move on to something else. And that helps ease them mentally and emotionally into that change. And that's what the aging process is for us as human beings, is it's that mental and emotional transition from life here to life in eternity. And if we didn't have that transition, how much we might want to cling to life here. And I look at my Grandma Fern right now. Sorry, there's a train going by. I'm not sure if that's being loud on here or not, but Grandma Fern has come to a point in her life where she says, another thing that happened recently, a couple weeks ago, which was just so sad. My friend, which we are not close now, but in high school there was a group of us girls that were really close friends, and one of my friends, her 14-year-old son committed suicide a couple of weeks ago, and it was just like I cannot fathom. There's so many emotions that were going in my mind thinking about my friend and what she must be dealing with and what was going on in his mind, why he would do that. He didn't tell anyone why, so it's just a mystery for everyone, but I just think how devastating. And again, what a potent reminder that we have no idea how much time that any of us have. So with raising our kids, it's so easy for me and everyone else, I'm sure, to get so busy on living life that you kind of forget that you don't have that much time, or you might not have that much time. So what's the important thing to be doing with them in that heart sense of, it's so easy to just want to enroll them in everything and perfect them physically, you know, get them in all the sports, get them in all the lessons, and, you know, get them trained up for the best career or whatever, but at the whole time forget about, or kind of overlook that important stuff of what kind of a person are they becoming and what do they believe, and, you know, just really taking the time to look inside of what's really the important stuff. And I'm not saying at all that my friend didn't do that, so I'm afraid that might be coming across that I'm thinking she didn't do that. I just mean that, just the sense that she only had 14 years and she didn't know that she was only going to have 14 years to do this. And what if I only have 14 years with one of my kids, and what do I as a parent need to be thinking about in that sense? And I don't know, just, I guess this is just the thoughts that have been swirling in my brain about what a blessing it is that we don't know how much time we have, that we do age, and we have that warning that that day is coming, and letting that be a constant reminder of the real reason we're here has nothing to do with how big our house is, how much money we have, how beautiful we are, how fast we can run. It has to do with what kind of a person we are, how much we love God, how much we love others. And if we are focusing on the other things, then we're wasting our time here. And coming to that question of, have I ever thought about dyeing my hair? I have thought about dyeing my hair. I started getting gray hair when I was 15. It didn't really get gray. Sorry, my battery just died. But anyways, I don't know the verse exactly, but I'll give my little paraphrase. Might be combining two thoughts, I'm not sure. But anyways, don't worry about your life, what you're going to eat or drink. You know, tomorrow's got enough worries of its own, kind of a thing. And you don't even have the power to turn one hair black or white. And I think that's the irony, that we now have hair dyes, and maybe they did then too, I don't know. But we have the ability to sort of turn our white hair black again, but it's not real. It's just painting over it. It didn't actually change the hair color, because as soon as the hair grows, it's still white again. So we have to keep touching it up. And that's kind of how we approach life, or we want to approach life, is constantly doing things that we think are going to prolong life, or to preserve life, or turn back time, but we're just painting over it. We aren't actually changing anything. And yet in the process, we can lose sight of reality, which is that we're supposed to be loving others and focusing on others. And I'm not even sure what I'm trying to say, but that our desire to mask reality, to mask who we are, to pretend like we're not aging, is we lose sight of the blessing of what aging is for us. And we also kind of put pressure on others to do the same thing, to mask who they are. And when we can really step back and take a look at it, I think that we can start to see, like, what I am doing making me a better person in my spirit or a worse person. And if we judge things that way, rather than what does it do to my physical appearance or my physical reality, we would make different choices in life. And for me, when I start noticing that something is having an effect on me, like I said, when I started becoming more judgmental or more fearful about what I ate or what other people ate, that was a huge warning sign that I was making a wrong decision, and I turned and went the other way. And again, there's nothing wrong with any of it necessarily if it's not producing that in you. But if it is, that should be like a sign, big old stop sign. And the same with dyeing your hair or doing those other things. Like, there's nothing inherently wrong about doing that, but when we examine our motives and what it does in our heart, maybe we want to make a different decision. And that's just kind of where I was. Like, I know what my motive would be for doing it, and I don't find that to be an acceptable thing for me to do, so I'm not going to do it. And again, two people can be doing the same thing, and one is right and one is wrong based on the motive of their heart. It has nothing to do with the thing itself. So I don't want anyone, again, to feel like I'm being judgmental of anyone else for following food rules or for dyeing their hair or whatever else you're doing, because you each are on your own journey, just like I am. And that's the whole thing about being a judgmental person. You really don't know what's going on in somebody else. So all I'm just trying to share with you, I guess, is these thoughts that I've been having about re-examining my feelings about growing older and realizing just what a blessing it is. And not that I don't, we use our herbs and we do our things to help with different little problems, but at the same time always keeping that in the context of peace and acceptance of whatever God's will is for us, and not trying to be excessively controlling or fearful of this natural process that God takes us through to get us ready to move on to our future life. So I guess I'm going to leave it there. I hope you guys enjoyed spending a little time with me coming over this morning on this rainy day, and I really enjoyed spending some time with you. And I have no idea how things are going to go in the next week or two as far as getting videos out, but I promise I haven't gone anywhere long term. It's just been a little crazy in the short term, and yes, I hopefully will be talking to you again very soon. Bye.